Newsstand. What is going on, guys? It's an upload video. I'm not live, so that's kind of cool, right? So just figured I'd make a quick video, support my friend George, aka Dee Runk Comics. Got a chance to meet him at C2E2 this year before the whole world went nuts. So I was very happy to get a chance to meet him, and he was actually nice enough to hook me up DGC slab of Adventures of Superman 501, one of my all-time favorite books, and it's signed by Carl Kessel, or I guess maybe Cassell, according to John Suntress at Word Balloon. That was kind of mind-blowing in that interview I watched. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. So once again, big thanks to Dee Runk for hooking this DGC slab. Extremely happy with it. So the very least I can do in return is to show support for his contest and let you guys know about it. So he is running a contest on his YouTube where all you have to do is be over the age of 18, live on the planet Earth. So he, for some reason, has something against Martians. Don't know what that's all about, but you have to be a member of the planet Earth so you can live in like Norway or France or wherever, and he'll ship to you. And then make a video or a Instagram post showing your 5 favorite covers, basically. So to weed out the amount of covers to pick from, basically, I decided to shake things up a bit. So I decided to challenge myself, and I want to pick a cover from each decade, basically, from the 60s on up. And I just ignored the 2010s because, hey, he didn't want 6 covers. He wanted 5 covers, so I'm going to pick one from the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, and the 2000s. And yeah, and then I have a bonus top 5 just for Dee Runk, so hopefully he'll enjoy that. But we'll go ahead and get into the books here. So the first book is from the 1960s, and in my opinion, this guy, he changed what it means to be a comic book cover, basically, and that's Jim Steranko. There are so many artists, well, you're going to say that for every decade, but there's so many artists you could have picked from. I decided just to go with the first one that, you know, I thought of, and for some reason, this one came up. Nick Fury, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., number 4. Wish I had a bright, luminescent white copy, but hey, I'll take what I can get. One of my all-time favorite covers. Wanted this one for a very long time. I got a chance to obtain it about a year and a half ago, so very, very happy to own this one in the collection. Next up, oh man, I discovered that, like, sometimes the community is just awesome for getting a chance to discover, you know, new artists you never knew about, and this is one of them. So I didn't know too much about Frank Bruner and his Doctor Strange run until I became a member of the comic book community. But once I saw these up for auction, I think it was like Lords of the Long Box auction, like way back when. Once I saw these covers for Doctor Strange, I knew I had to get into this run. And the funny thing about this Doctor Strange number 4 is I think it has one of the best, well, obviously it's on the top 5, but one of the best covers of all time. But like the interiors are just as good, if not better. On top of that, you get this awesome splash page interior of him riding a Pegasus attacking a skeleton, a giant skeleton at that. So really cool read, and like some of the most phenomenal art I've seen, and it was in 1974. So definitely had to be my pick for 70s artist for sure. And I know, I'm sorry Neil Adams fans, it was a tough call on that one, but at the end of the day I went with Bruner. When I think the 80s and, you know, top cover artists, like who do you think I'm going to pick? Come on, it's George Perez. I had to pick some George Perez, but it's like, do you go Wonder Woman or Titans? I just went all in, and I picked Crisis on Infinite Earths. Like, to me, this is Perez at his top of this game. And by the way, signed by Marv Wolfman and George Perez on the front. But I picked this one because it is one of my favorite wraparound covers as well. And just the sheer amount of chaos on this cover. Why wouldn't you have bought this in 1985? So, one of my favorite stories of all time, but definitely some of the best art of all time as well, in my opinion. Into the 90s, this was a tough pick for me. It's the one I think I thought the most about because it's when I started collecting, and when a lot of these covers were the most impactful to me was when I was a kid. Obviously seeing like the Jim Lee stuff on X-Men Wildcats, the Alex Ross stuff on Kingdom Come was mind-blowing. But at the end of the day, I had to go back to my origin, and I picked Superman 75. I had to go with Dan Jurgens on this. Probably, in my opinion, the most iconic cover in my collection, at least. Just that destroyed Superman cape on that poor pole. But yeah, this was the first comic I ever owned, and it kept me in the game until, well, today. So I think this is an easy pick after I got done thinking about it. There's only one cover artist, in my opinion, that I could have picked for the 2000s, and that's Michael Turner. So the question is, which Michael Turner cover do I pick? Do I pick the Aspen World War Hulk #1 variant, the Soulfire Wizard World exclusive Virgin variant? There's so many great ones that a lot of people haven't even seen out there. But I just went with, the easy pick. One that it took me so long to find a good price on this cover. Because the run is so great as well. People collected this #1 just because the run is good as well. But I went with Teen Titans #1 from the Jeff Johns, Mike McKone run. And like I said, I didn't get this cover till a year ago. And I've been collecting this run since it came out. So very difficult to find when it originally came out. But luckily last year I finally got a solid deal on it and added to my collection. But for a long time, this was my most coveted cover until, well, Indiana Comic-Con last year. So very happy to have this in the collection. So also, I thought about putting this on my other list, but I was like, I don't want to double dip. But my other list, and that's for Dee Runk, because I know one of his boys, Connor Kent's Superboy, I just decided to make a top 5 list. Top 5 Connor Kent Superboy covers. So hopefully, Dee Runk, you'll enjoy this. So the first one I picked, and I didn't realize I had so many copies of this until I was going to dig one out and show it for this countdown, is I have 4 copies of Superboy Zero. So I guess I kind of have to pick this by default because it's just one of those ones I find it in a quarter bin or a dollar bin. It just goes in the stack by default. I guess this is Cameo or Reverse King Shark. I don't know. But even as a kid, this was one of my favorite covers just because it was the first time he had heat vision via these goofy 90s glasses. So I always just love this, him busting through this metal Cadmus wall ready for action. And then I've got, let's see, I think I got 3 direct editions, and then I've got the 0 month edition, which I think these were in a 3 or 5 pack at Toys R Us or something like that. Next up with 0, and in that run, it's going to be a Tom Grummett heavy list, obviously. I just went with Superboy #1, and this is another one I have multiple copies of. I think I even have a 3rd copy of this somewhere. But I have my signed Tom Grummett. I got him sign this a couple years ago at Cincinnati Comic Expo. And then I found in a dollar bin a couple, well, maybe not even a couple, maybe last year, the DC Universe variant, which I'm very happy to get this one. It's one of my favorite covers, obviously. It's on the list. And then next up, it's actually a combo of Teen Titans books. So I went with Teen Titans 33, just his big return from when he benched himself basically after he got taken over by Lex Luthor and fought the Titans. He didn't trust himself in the field anymore, but then Infinite Crisis happened, Superboy Prime happened, and he kind of had no choice but to call himself to action. And the only other character there to help is Nightwing. So you get the first big team up between Nightwing and Superboy before Superboy's untimely death in Infinite Crisis. So always love this issue, and it's got a great cover to boot. And hey, I got triple signed by Todd Nuck, Tony Daniel, and Jeff Johns. So like I said, one of my favorite issues. And next up is the following issue, but this is a variant cover to issue 34. And it's the Superboy Memorial issue of the 1 year later arc in Teen Titans. So I got this one signed by interior artist Tony Daniel. The cool Ed Benes cover on that. Just thought it would be cool to show this one because this is a cover you don't see ever. So I think it was a 1-in-10 ratio when there weren't a lot of 1-in-10 ratios, especially on a book like Teen Titans. By that point, it was starting to wear off a little bit, so it wasn't as popular as it would have been in the first 12 issues or so. And then the last one is another one. I just found out about this maybe within the last 6 months. I would have hunted this down if I knew about it previously. But this is Superman Unchained issue #3, Tom Grummett variant. I had no idea this existed up until, well, I found it in a dollar bin at a half-price book. So I'm just like, what is this? And I don't know if it's a 1-in-10 or 1-in-25, but just a cover did in the 2010s, but has that classic 90s feel because they got Tom Grummett and Carl Kessel, or Kessel? I don't know. But Tom Grummett did some work in 2013 on Superboy, the classic 90s look. So I was extremely happy to discover this in a dollar bin. I didn't have to overpay for it, obviously. That was great. So big big, huge shout out to Dee Runk once again. I'll be forever grateful for him getting me this DGC slab, especially with this signature. I've never met Carl Kessel, so I'm very happy to have a signature from him, and it's DGC 9.8 authenticated. So once again, shout out Dee Runk Comics. I'll be sure to leave the link to his contest and his channel below. So sub him up if you have not, and subscriber contest. Those are an interesting thing. So that being said, have a good night, guys.